Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the ReluTech Podcast. I am glad to welcome back Jeremiah Cantu. He's been on our podcast before. We have a program where we work with them on a lot of different wafer initiatives, the well-architected framework review. We've discussed that in the past, the value of these types of reviews in an AWS environment. We're going to take a huge left turn today. So this is really not at all related to that. Innovative Solutions has been working on some software, like a lot of different companies. It's not necessarily common in the SI space for companies to make software like this necessarily, but it was really exciting when I started seeing some of the initial stuff, and Jeremiah told me more about what they were working on. So I welcomed him in today so we could go through it a little bit. So Jeremiah, feel free to take it away and give a brief intro to Tailwinds AI.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's great to be back. Always great to be back on the podcast here. With Innovative Solutions, we have put a lot of effort and energies into creating our Tailwinds product offering, but our most recent advancement, I would say, which is the most exciting, is really we call it Tailwinds, and it's a UI for AI. And essentially what it is, it's a flexible, fully managed solution that allows you to develop and really just simplifies the process of creating a generative AI solution with literally zero coding involved, right? You get a lot of great tools baked into it, and the interface is very simple to use. And I think when we talk about generative AI solutions, some folks might feel a little bit hesitant, or maybe even think they don't have the skills in house or the kind of the background to even start to develop a solution. But what we've tried to do is really just simplify that process. If you're kind of familiar with any kind of drag and drop, I think a lot about because I'm a dad, I have kids who are in tech. We used to use this tool called Snap. That was like a way to teach code, and they would just grab little things and just drop it. And when I think about that, I think about the Tailwind SaaS or Tailwinds UI that really is that kind of just drag and drop functionality and works right out of the box. All of it's built on Bedrock. We partnered with IBM and watsonx, and we have a lot of other portions of that AI landscape baked into it that allows users to essentially be up and running, and I would say within a matter of minutes. Right, we have folks who are using this in healthcare, in education. You can get some personalized learning experiences, diagnostic accuracy, and all of it is driven and improved, powered by the AI solution, the Tailwinds platform.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the no-code element of it is really important for a lot of, I think, entrepreneurial-minded people. They want to take advantage of this new technology like everybody else. We want to see, what does it have? How can it empower my business? But if you start trying to do it maybe with the bare bones tools available in the market, you realize, oh, I want this to talk to this technology, I got to make an API. Oh, I want to trigger this process, I got to make a Lambda function. A little bit of code here, a little bit of code there, and it's easier than it used to be, but it still requires a coder and a development team. And to some extent, when you're toying with a new idea, that can be pretty resource intensive. These kinds of solutions are really great ways to get something up and running, a use case. And what I've loved about it, from what you showed me, is it's not like this is separated from code. You can take the code out, varieties of languages. It's still something that can integrate well with any maybe technology you're already working with. But for toying with the generative AI, it makes it so accessible. And I think that's a big thing for anyone who's entrepreneurial, anyone who wants to get a proof of concept up and running. This was a pretty cool tool. So what we cooked up here today, we were chatting for a little bit first. We were toying around with it, and we put together a quick little chatbot. We're going to show you a little bit about how it's built. The goal of this chatbot was just to make something that could search Google, and you could ask it questions, and it'll Google search to give you an answer. So, Jeremiah, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share my screen here. There we go. So what you see here is like I mentioned the um, Tailwinds UI and what we built before our call. Let me just kind of zoom in a little bit. All of these different modules are pre-built and available to add, and we have so many different types of drag and drop um, tools and agents built into it here, right? And really, this was a very simple case scenario, right? What we have is our chat agent. We have a start. We wanted to allow it to search the internet. We wanted to allow for an in-memory cache, which enables the chat agent to remember the conversations we're having. And then, of course, at the base of it, we have our chat engine, right? This is the model that it's hitting here, right? So we just essentially dragged and dropped all of these things in here, and then once you hit your little chat button up here, because we do have a start and an end, we hit go. There's a lot. This is some of the stuff that Chris and I were talking about on our last call, and because this was intended to really just be a simple search. One of the things I could search for if I was a user, and I think I'm saying, when is the next F1 race in the state of Texas? Chris, being a fan of racing, probably appreciate that. And while this
Probably
is
somewhere around 11 months from now.
you think so? Okay. Yeah, next Formula One race will be the US
Got
Grand
it.
Prix, October 20th. Although it does say October 20th, 2024.
That's my little brother's birthday. If only I could afford to take him to F1 races for his birthdays.
There you go. Although it looked, yeah, so that's one thing. But if you wanted to ask it more complex questions, because it has access to the internet, right? Let's say something like, I need a solution to share files securely between AWS accounts and different regions. Now, it's not technically a question, but it's still going to provide me some
because
feedback,
it's,
right?
the LLM it uses, it's going to contextualize the way you stated that. Like many of you who've worked with ChatGPT or any of these kind of common LLMs, it's really useful in the sense that you don't have to necessarily say what you're asking perfectly. It's going to put it together as long as you are saying it explicitly for what you need.
Yes, and it does a lot more than just providing links to a documentation, right? And then of course, just like because we're using an Anthropic model, it's going to say, would you like more specific details, right?
Yep.
And then I can say, could can't type today, this be used for, I'm going to try something very outlandish, right? Could this be used for processing database tables? Right? I want to just see, like, I'm asking about files. It's really not. It's really wasn't asking specifically about database tables. So it says it shows me the search results, right?
Yep.
And it says the current set of tools does not include specific capabilities for, and that's exactly what you would want it to say, right? And so that kind of gives you, this is, like I said, this was something that Chris and I, how long did it take us, Chris? 5 minutes?
It was
Maybe?
five or so minutes. We toyed with it a little more after that because again, it is very customizable, and we worked with different LLMs and hey, what does this one do? And there's just a lot of different options on there that we toyed around with. Some of them are fairly straightforward. Some get more technical. Again, the idea being that even with the more technical ones, they are still delivered in a drag and drop fashion. So as long as you understand what the tool is, you don't need to start coding around it. So it's big. It's something that for a team that just wants to get something up and running, they can do that. Now, this is searching Google. You can make it so it has certain conversations around certain topics. You can set a lot of limitations to these things, which is obviously potentially more relevant to how some businesses might be utilizing it. But again, if you look kind of towards the top of the screen, you also see that you can take the code right out of it once you have something you like.
Exactly.
So it allows companies to get out and have something right away, and then they can work with their developers. They can start to tweak and toy with this in a more custom scale. But it's exciting. It's very cool.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, the extensibility, I think there's over, last time I checked, there was like 60 different drag and drop plugins. Right now, the plugins run the gamut of the tools that you can add in an AI solution like this, right? But
it's expanding from what I can tell.
Yes.
When we first started talking about this tool, we got in yesterday and you saw new stuff there, and since the last time you'd been in it. And we were like, well, let's go see what this stuff does. So obviously you guys are investing in the growth of this thing, and it's the whole goal being that there's going to be a lot of different stuff people want to use. The more things you can get in that cater to your customers, that, it makes it accessible. It makes all this really easy.
Yeah, and the way you're really just moving stuff around, dragging, dropping, and
I'm a guitar player, so this reminds me of a pedal board. Like, it honestly reminds me of a pedal board. And it's funny because even in pedal boards, you do have to have this you have to have this flow, this chain. Certain things go in certain places. You don't necessarily want to put reverb before your distortion or something like that. And with this, cache is supposed to go in a specific place, but you can see here, your in-memory cache, it links up right to a box that says cache. It's not necessarily asking too much of you.
Yeah. And there's your agent in goes here because you want it to stop at some point. You got to start to your start agent. Your model goes to your start button and your allowed tools right here. So you want to make sure that you allow your agent to search the internet, right?
Yep.
And it does know what a pedal board is, so that's good. Anyway.
No, they got it. Right there
did.
at the bottom. Yeah, they got it. They know.
It's supposed for musicians. There we go. It does look. I mean, I know what you're saying. It does look like a pedal board. I never even put that together until you said that. But yeah.
But in even past that, like you said, you had the Snap program. This kind of daisy chain fashion, I feel like it's been common in engineering for a really long time, which is good because it makes it accessible. It makes it understandable. It's not like some heavy lift to try something new. So it's really cool. I'm excited to see kind of where you guys continue to take this over the next year.
Yeah. And like I said, it has been super, super well received. And I mean, we've seen folks internally who I would have never thought, when I think about, hey, could this person make a generative AI solution? And 10 minutes later, they've, built a chained chat flow, an agent flow that, goes to multiple chains and does some really cool stuff, right? And we have folks using this in their day-to-day work here internally, right?
Yeah, they built a bot for them.
Yeah,
like they're doing their, and I think that's, there's these conversations about where does generative AI sit in relationship with employment, right? Because that is a concern. I think for everyone, it's like, okay, if this makes things easier, what am I going to do? And what you're going to do is have ideas that help your business, whether it be helping you do your day-to-day job more productively, whether it be delivering a solution that generates revenue for your company. It depends on your role in the company, but there's so many ways that these generative AI solutions come in. And when you have a tool like this, it's kind of that everyone's a coder mentality. I need a little tool that helps me solve a problem for me. You can do that.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And it's, I love the fact that it's, so easily available, right? It's like, I could probably teach my mom how to use this, honestly.
Oh, I definitely could. And as far as it goes, the iPhone's been much more of a struggle. Getting the Wi-Fi network reset. Don't even get me started, man. But this,
Yeah.
I could totally teach her how to do it.
Yeah.
Now then, I'll probably won't be able to stop her. She'll just be making little like cooking bots and things like that to feed her recipes that are based on her sense of taste. But you know, that's why I probably won't teach her how to use this.
Yeah. If I could make a chat bot that would remind my parents how to use their universal remote, that would save me hours.
Use a chatbot to teach them the things you've already taught them.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Anyway.
Awesome, Jeremiah. Well, as far as it goes, it was a quick demo, but I think that was kind of the point. We wanted to show you guys, you know, this was a bot that searches Google, and it was effectively 6 boxes that are strung together. So if you're looking for a solution that can let you guys be lean and get proof of concept solutions all the way up to large scale solutions up and running quickly, reach out to Innovative Solutions, talk to them about Tailwinds AI. They have some information about it on their site, which is tailwindsai.com. So you can read more about the platform and the different integrations it has and all of that. But yeah, thanks again, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Chris. Always great to chat and play with cool stuff.
Yeah. Until next time, everybody.